Hello and welcome to a humble Highland home. Thank you so much for being with me here today. We, like many others, are currently experiencing a heat wave which has led to a lack of water in the burn and unfortunately a devastating wildfire which is just a few miles from us. The fires have been burning for a few weeks now, with many firefighters being involved in trying to contain it. We are forecast some rain later on, which will be very welcome. I have come out of the kitchen garden today. There's always plenty to do, but I did make a promise that as soon as Adam was in a position to start work on the log store again, I would put some time, energy and focus to reinstate the dry stone dike that I took apart to allow the electric lines to be laid underground. Having the wires going underground meant that we no longer needed the overhead cable and the stay wire ropes that were next to the garage. I made a previous video of that, which I will link in the description below. But the stay ropes were right in the middle of where the new steps are going to go up to the kitchen garden, so they needed to come out. I took the wall apart, and as I took the stones out, I laid them in an order, hoping that it was going to make it easier for me when I was rebuilding the wall. However, that was a couple of years ago, and we've had lots of weeds and lots of other stones being piled on top of them, so I think I'm going to be starting from scratch today. I am not a professional stonemason. I just like to try and be as resourceful as I can be using what we have, and I'm incredibly grateful that myself and Adam have got a complementary set of skills. I am fortunate that my dad has done his fair share of dry stone diking, so I'm sure he will keep me right. So I know the walls as being a dry stone dike, but in Scotland it's named dry stone dike, and in other areas it's called dry stacking, and I'm sure there'll be lots of other names for it. So a dry stone dike is the building of a wall without using mortar to bind the stones together. Dry stone dikes are mainly found in higher rocky grounds, and they're generally made of local natural stone that blends beautifully into the backdrop. They are a very sustainable way of building a wall, and they should last for a very, very long time without needing too much attention. Dry stone diking is a traditional skill that is not typically of favour these days, which is a shame because there are so many benefits. There's no manufacturing required. The stone dikes are a haven for wildlife. They create a windbreak for shelter, and all the materials are sourced locally, and there's no need for wooden or wire fences, and there's no mortar involved. They last a long, long time. So once I've reinstated this wall, I should never have to do anything with it again. It is tempting to start working on the rest of the wall, but that's not my focus today, and I have to remind myself of that. You may see Adam busy working away in the background, and he's making good progress on the log storing shed after many, many setbacks. But we are where we are, and we will make the most of this time, so I'm always happy to lend a hand where I can. Even if I almost take a wee tumble whilst holding the frame. There are many different styles of dry stone dikes, and they can differ from region to region. This is a retaining wall, so I'm sloping it back slightly against the earth. I made a small trench along the bottom for the larger stones to fit into, and then some of the longer stones I've used from front to back as well as side by side, and that hopefully just adds a little bit more strength as it goes into the earth to hold it. Then I've added some wedging stones and pinning stones to make sure that the smaller stones stay in place. I'm also backfilling with earth as we go. Haven't put any string lines in place to guide me as it's a relatively small gap, so I'm just judging it by eye. Now, my dad did inform me that one of the rules of dry stone diking is to never handle a stone more than once, and this just saves time and also your energy. I clearly have not taken that advice because I've handled these stones lots. It's slowly coming together and the end is nigh. And I turn my attention a little bit towards the edge of the road, in between the road and the wall, and I do look forward to it being able to turn my attention to this part at some point, but not today. So it's tidy up time, and I will put the rest of the stones that I haven't used to one side because there are lots of dry stone dikes to rebuild around this property, as they're a good boundary instead of a fence. And like you've heard me say many times before, I like to use what we have and try to keep these old traditional skills alive. So thank you for joining me here today. I really appreciate you being here. Until next time, take care of yourself and others, and I'll see you in the next video.